Hello, Internet. Come on in. Let's go. I'm going to do what I did last time because some people liked it, but more importantly, I liked it. I did a sleep drunk episode. You know how you are extra honest at night when you're tired, just in your bed. I'm going to do the same thing, but come on. I'm going to get comfy. Did I see? I'm already drunk because I said some people like it. I don't know if I said them at the main point, but I liked it. That is the main point. I liked it, and so I'm going to do it again. So even if some people in the algorithm didn't like it, I'm going to do it. But okay. So 2 people I want to address really quick. If you already know who I am, thanks for coming back. People in the comments have been super nice and kind, so thank you for that. And we're building a little bit of a culty community here. It's cool. Now, if you're still here after 1 minute and 15 seconds, and you're like, who is this dude with the glasses? He looks familiar. Is he like a UFC fighter? No, I'm not Volkanovski or whatever. He's like, is this Dude Perfect? The guy on Dude Perfect? No, not Dude Perfect either. There's a few more. I am my own person. I'm Calvin, and it's hard for me to describe myself because, well, for a few reasons. Because I'm going to get more comfortable. Because I've been sort of finding myself. Okay, I'm just going to jump into the thing that people remember, at least the first hook. So if this is your first time seeing me, here's the hook that will make you be like, what? I have 44 siblings. So I grew up Fundamentalist Mormon. This isn't a bit. This is real fucking life. I have 13 grandmothers. So my grandfather was one of the church leaders, cult leaders. And my dad had 4 wives. I grew up with 4 moms, all in one house. And each of my moms had 11 to 13 kids each. Now, that sparks a lot of questions. I'm going to say one of the most common ones just so I can answer it so we can just get talking on the rest of this episode. Like, what? Do you remember all their names? Aaron, Leroy, Pamela, Clayne, Guy, Miriam, Miranda, Michelle, Melanie, David, Calvin. That's me. Anna, Jonathan, Joshua. Fuck, where am I? I miss Timothy. I always forget Timothy. But that's not my... That you can't just completely blame me. Okay, so yes, I could name all of them. I know all of my siblings, okay? Because we all grew up in one house, except a few others like Timothy, but we'll save that for an episode. Timothy, if you ever want to do an episode, your story is actually kind of bonkers. And the other ones, but still. Okay, so long story short, irregular. And people ask all the time, what was that like? What was it like to grow up like that? That's crazy. This is what I get more as I live here in New York City now. But can I be honest with you? Think about however you grew up for a second. How many siblings do you have? Maybe you have 1 sibling. Maybe you're an only child. Maybe you're crazy and your parents had 4 children or 6. For the sake of conversation, let's say that you have 2 siblings, okay? Now, if I was sitting at your table, you want to know what my first question would be to you? You tell me you have 2 siblings. You're the middle child. You're the older, the younger, or there's an older and a younger. You're maybe 3 years apart each. You only have 2 siblings. What's my first question to you? The first thing I'm going to ask is, what was that like? What? That sounds crazy to me. Only 2. That is crazy to me. Now, what's my point here? What is normal? What is normal is what we're familiar with. So my upbringing with 44 siblings wasn't weird to me. Why? Because it was my normal. It's all I knew. In fact, everybody that I knew, every family that I knew, were also polygamists. Were also in the religion. My grandfather, again, he didn't have all these kids at once, but he had like 70-something kids. And, other families around my dad's age didn't have 44 kids, but they had 20 or 25 or 30. And there were some that had more, but my dad was just an overachiever because that's what Waymans do. We fucking surprise people. We just get it done. But anyway, that's actually kind of a joke with the Wayman thing, because in my religion, Waymans were sort of shit on. It's one of my missions in life is to make Wayman so cool, just so we can, sort of shit on some of the other last names and be like, can you believe that the cool last name used to be Timpson? Like, Waymans are so much cooler. Because deep down we are. We're way more real. Timpsons are great bullshitters. That's one thing I know. If you know anybody that is like in Fundamentalist Mormonism, there's like people that you just know that they're good-hearted, genuine people. That's Waymans. Waymans are like the best at that. But if you're looking for somebody that could be a politician or win in a debate that's sort of like Gavin Newsom-y, if you're looking for the Gavin Newsoms of the world, that would be the Timpsons. The people that were like the ones in charge of the church that I was in. Okay. So I started my life over a couple years ago. Okay, I probably should rewind back a little bit if this is really your first time seeing me. Because, okay, people are like, yeah, I'm trying to think about questions I'm normally getting. Because people are like, that's crazy. 44 siblings. What's that like? How did you know? So what was this? This was a branch of Mormonism. And as I'm saying this out loud, there's several threads that are going on in my head of where I could go with this conversation, because the truth is, there could be a thread of just full personal story as it unfolded, or context of what I happen to be born into first. Because the truth is, and I'll guess I'll give some of that context, but here's why I think it's important to show the confusion is I did not know all the context until now. Like years and years later, after being born what I was born into, I'm discovering it. I went through my hate my past phase, hate everything phase just a few years ago when I left. Like, it's kind of crazy when you wake up to the idea that, oh shit, I'm born in a cult. Oh my God. And it doesn't even come across as that. At first, it's just like a doubt. And the doubt itself is dangerous in your own head. It's like, can I trust myself? I'm questioning something that my entire life, all the people that said they loved me, that said that they have my best interest and that they're here to save my soul, they're telling me it's this, and I'm going to go against that. Like, it is so fucking insane to dare question. You wonder if you are so many things. Are you under the influence of the devil? Are you really a very bad person to dare question the best people that you know? Like, it is such a mindfuck. Now, Here's one point I want to say. Now that I've been out and, again, have gone through my hate my past phase, hate everything else phase, here's something that I'm entering. How do I frame this? How do I say this? I think it's fascinating. I really do. Like, it's gotten to the point, like, there's so many cult stuff online on Netflix, and they miss it. Everybody's missing it. All of these, I've been on them. I've been on these amazing, empowering, some of them, cult documentaries and interviews and stuff like that. Keep sweet, pray, and obey. Like, cults to consciousness. Like, there's so many cult stuff, and I know everybody's into it. Like, everybody is into cult stuff, especially if you're a female and over the age of like, actually it's dudes too, but there is like a demographic thing. It's like the same demographic that's into like murder mysteries or whatever, but it is a thing that as a culture we're into. But, and this is a big fucking but, because nobody talks about it. And that is, I gotta slow down to sort of make my point. The main point I'm trying to make is, okay, let's talk about what's missing. Everybody's talking about the culty stuff, but they're not talking about everything else. They're not talking about, so when they talk about culty stuff, they talk about the structure, they talk about the leadership. They don't talk about the actual evolution of a cult or the people in the cult or why people stay. They make it all to be like, it's a very convenient story of like, oh, there's just this really good, charismatic leader that confused everybody or put them under the spell. And because he was so handsome and charismatic that he convinced everybody to drink the poison. And then he fucked everybody. That's basically how all cult documentaries and stuff go. But here's the truth, and this is what I was going to say. And I'm going to share it with a story. I'm going to make a point with a story first. It's one of my favorite stories. It's a simple one. You've probably heard it. There are these two fish swimming in water, and an older fish comes up to them, and he asks the younger fish, "How's the water, boys?" The two fish look at each other, confused, and they continue swimming on. I don't know, I'm doing this with my fingers because it's probably more like this. They don't have feet. So they swim away. And then finally, one of the other fish breaks the silence to his friend and says, "What the hell is water?" Okay. Here's my point. If you're watching this right now, if you're listening to this right now, you're not going to like what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it. In that story, I and you and every motherfucker is the fish. Nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about this, and I'm going to talk about it. You're the fish. I'm the fish. What I mean is, when I left the cult, I thought I was leaving. People are upset. Some people from my past saying, "You're making this sound bad. You're making it sound culty. You're making it sound like we're worse than..." Look, hey. Everything's on a spectrum. Some cults are worse than ours, but, the the 44 siblings thing, that's kind of crazy. But also this Harry Potter priesthood thing. I'm not even going to get into all that for people that are new here. Like, there's so many crazy rules. Bottom line is, it's fucking culty. I'm sorry if you're in the work and you don't like being bunched up with Warren Jeff's group, which, by the fucking way, it's the same thing, and you lie to everybody. You go to church every week and you try to make it feel like you're separate because that's what we do as humans. It's not just culty stuff. There's utility in separation because it gives you legitimacy. That's what's actually going on. It's not that you're not culty. You're trying to separate yourself from something that is obviously bad so that you have legitimacy. That's the point. So if anybody's watching this from Centennial Park, Arizona, and you're in the work, I'm sorry. It's a cult. I'm sorry. It sucks. It sucks. John Timpson doesn't have special powers. I'm sorry. Claude Colley, the most honest person in that entire town. The only honest man. He doesn't got it. Neither does Richard Timpson. What's the other fucking people's name? Jed Hammond, great at music. Big family. Nice dude, but a dude. Ephraim Hammond, super passionate. Probably wants to do the right thing, good at plumbing. Not a prophet, not an apostle. Don Timpson, a great man, high priest in the town, not above other great men. I'm sorry. It's been a good run. Okay, now here's the good news. To anybody from my past, from anybody in any other thing that's controlling and culty, here's the good news. You're not alone. You're not alone. This is everywhere. This isn't Centennial Park exclusive. There is cultiness every fucking where. And that, if I'm going to give my little conspiracy theory, I think is partly why people are so obsessed with culty stuff. It's also why we like to poke and point at people that are weirder, because it at least makes us feel a little bit kinder and nicer. Now, anybody that I named, a couple things. I'm not upset at anybody. But I do like to draw bright lines of what I think. The other thing too is if you're going to call yourself in any leadership position, I mean, it's part of the territory. If you're going to be a high priest, or if you're going to be an apostle, if you're going to be governing people's lives, if you're going to have responsibility for multiple human beings, including women and children, you can be fucking named on a YouTube show. Okay? I say that in advance because this happens all the time. Anytime something happens, like I post something online, I get something from that community. And hey, if you're a little bit triggery, maybe that's just a sign to look at the mirror. Look in the mirror. I know you want it to be true. It's been a great story. But here's the other thing. That's the other thing I haven't talked about yet. The other thing I haven't talked about yet is I really think this is fascinating. Like, I don't know. To just peel the layers back, there's so many layers to cultiness. And there can be whole other conversation about where there's cultiness everywhere in society, because there is. It's in so many churches. It's in so many secular areas. And that's been the mindfuck that I've found, is there are so many people that are so fucking culty. And this is probably what makes some people that are in places like the work upset with people like me, which is valid because you notice cultiness in other places. That is valid too. Like, my only point is, like, we're all in this mess. Like, we're all susceptible to being in the water, to being the fish and not fucking knowing it. Every single person. I'm also just as susceptible. Everybody's susceptible to their own bullshit. Now, here's how you can check it though. Like, are you willing to look at your shit? Are you willing to adjust what you believe? Now, that's something that, I mean, I'm still figuring myself out. It's only been a few years. I've lived in New York for 3 years. And there's so much I still don't know about myself and what I actually think and what I actually believe. But here's something that nobody from my past has on me, and that is that I have not been willing to face what I believed and update my beliefs along the way. Like, I'm not even that's one thing you don't have on me. You can say, I got sucked in by the devil and stuff like that, whatever the belief system is. But you can't say I haven't been willing to face shit that I believed and adjust. And I think it's something that we all have to do eventually. We all have to adjust. Okay. Now, for anybody else that is new to me, to this whole world, I want to talk about this more because the truth is your stuff is probably culty too. And especially if you are super political on anything, if you're political on the right or the left, you're probably in pockets of cults. And at the end of this, at the very end of the episode, I'm going to share one simple thing. In fact, I might dance around it throughout the rest of this conversation. But at the very end, I will give one nugget of what, wherever you are, maybe you want to make sure you're not in a cult and stuff like that. Here's one nugget you can do to pretty well, it's the only thing that I know of to make sure that you stay cult free, or at least not susceptible to the cults you're probably in. Because you cannot function in this world without bumping into cults. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. And you're probably in one. I think what would be interesting, though, too, is we need to change the language around it, too. Because I'm coming in pretty hot, and it's because I've had so many years of... First of all, I'll just put it on me. I doubted myself so fucking much when I was coming to the decision to leave. I had so many voices of people that I once loved and respected turn on me on a dime. People that I thought we argued about things, but it was open, completely, it was the most gut-wrenching, painful thing. And I doubted it for a long time. And it's been years of me digging and searching the world to realize how fucking right that gut check was. And so I think that's why I come in with a little bit of heat. It's almost like a reaction to how heavy it was. And just all of it's probably some sort of validation, and I probably shouldn't even do that. Because at the end of the day, one of the things that I've learned too is, especially in this new way of operating that is very different from the culty way of operating, is in cult land, the number one thing is to do the right thing. That's the definition that's the main rule of any cult. The most important thing is to do the right thing. Now, what's the right thing? Well, that's going to vary depending on whatever cult. There's a lot of right things depending on the pocket and depending on the severity of the penalties if you don't do the right thing, and penalties aren't always stated. In fact, most of the time they're not. You can say the wrong thing and be completely ousted. You can be completely ostracized. In a religious circle, in Mormonism, it's called excommunication. In political circles, it's just kicking somebody out. It's shaming them. It's canceling them. It's the same sort of function. You have the same biological reaction of being ousted from your tribe because you did something that was not the right thing. And I think the reason that I'm wanting to talk about this stuff more and more, it's honestly not to besides people in power, it's not to shame anybody or even, at the end of the day, I don't even want to tell anybody that they should go do anything. I think we should be able to even say this is a cult and I'm okay staying in it. I really think we have to get there. It's been such a polarizing, taboo thing that it's like, no, it's obviously bad. No, I think we have to get to the place where we can do that. But the bigger point, too, is I want to start talking about it more because there are so many cults in society, in culture, that aren't even discussed that way, particularly in politics and in international affairs, especially in the Middle Eastern region, which I'm not going to get into right now. There's so much cultiness, and because it's not being talked about, we're not progressing in any real productive way. There are some people that are seeing the nuance to the way people are and think, and that there are individuals, but there are some people, a good chunk, that are getting more and more entrenched in their own digital silos. And because they're getting entrenched in their own digital silos, that's becoming more culty. And I see it turning in some places. But here's the benefit that there's a lot of benefits, honestly, of growing up in a cult. But the benefit of recognizing that you're in a cult and having to leave it, there's such a beautiful fucking, I was going to say consolation prize, but it's more than that. It's like such a reward for the process. Basically, at the end of that trial, you're handed like these special X-ray goggles, and they're like magic. You just look around and you can see through social situations and people. Like, if anybody watching this, if you've left a really bad toxic relationship, you were married to a narcissist, or you left, like you actually had to actively get out of a high control culty environment, you see it. You just do. And it's fascinating. And one of the things that I've noticed is cultiness in a lot of parts of culture has actually risen over the years. It's getting worse. That's why I want to start talking about it. And again, the other thing that I need to do better of in my communication, and I certainly didn't do it at this episode, I'm not apologizing for anything that I've said. especially for I'm mentioning people in power positions. If you're in a position of power, you deserve to be and have a name. Like, you deserve to say, oh, this person says that they have this special power. They should be fucking talked about. It's par for the course. That said, one thing I want to get better at communicating is anybody that's in something, there's so much good in it. This is also what every single cult documentary misses. They miss how much good is in all of it. And again, I'm saying this right now in the middle of this episode when I came in hot, but I think it's very important to point out. I would even go so far as to say that if I look at all the shit that I had to go through in my entire upbringing, from physical abuse, emotional abuse, a little bit of sexual abuse, psychological torment. The hardest part, definitely, the most traumatic thing in my entire upbringing was leaving the religion. Like, that was more traumatic than any of this other stuff that I just mentioned. All that stuff was very real, but leaving was still harder. And part of that is we're social animals, leaving it and all that. But here's the other thing. There is genuinely so much good in a cult. That's what makes it dangerous, honestly. But unless we can talk about the good, we're fucked. Because a lot of people, when they don't recognize the entire picture, and this is all over society too, where we look at everything so binarily, men are this way, women are that way, black people are this way, white people are that. It's so unhelpful because everybody's an individual. And you have to look at it on that level. But my only point there is, like, you have to have the entire picture looked at. Otherwise, you're going to be causing, what is it? Is it surgeons that have this phrase? First, do no harm. Like, we have to know the good that's in these things so that we can create healthy environments to get them. Not just tear down a cult, not just say all men are evil if you had a bad relationship, but notice the good and the bad. Be able to discern between the two. So we already know the stuff that can be bad in a cult. It's what everybody talks about, like losing your identity, the abuse of all shapes and sizes. But what about, here are obvious ones, community? We're social animals. Community is huge. Everybody needs that. And there's different ways to form communities. It can be over interests, like we all have similar interests. A very common thing that builds community that I'm not sure it's the most healthy, but it's certainly one of the most common. And this is in religious circles and political circles and secular circles. But one of the most common things to build community around is a common enemy. You think it's just going after the right thing, the same thing, but it's not always. We all have this same enemy. We want to get rid of this, and we label it. I'm not even going to get into labels and stuff like that, but we build around that. there are a few communities that actually find some transcendent, beautiful purpose or mission that not only includes them and gives them something to strive for, but is also pretty fucking inclusive of people that aren't them. Like, those are the best ones. In fact, if you want to, it's why I love America. Like, so many people have so much shit to say, but the people that also have a lot of shit to say about America usually went to higher education or some high school thing. And higher education is one of the biggest scams of cultiness that I've ever stumbled upon. Like, it's so pervasive that a lot of people don't even know it. Like, there's so much because here's the other thing. Here's the point I want to make. So much of cultiness has been completely exclusively talked about in religious circles. So there's this big danger that happened around the 60s and 70s where religion was sort of falling away through the hippie movement, free love movement, and the universities got infused with a lot of bullshit ideas that are just as culty as religion, and probably more so because they think they're not. They think, oh, this is the right way to think. This is the right way to believe. And one of those things is it's become increasingly popular to just shit on anything from our past, which is so fucking stupid if you really think about it. We're so dumb right now in certain circles of society, especially higher education. We're shitting on our past leaders and statues and museums when we've changed. Dude, we've evolved. And I'm definitely not saying that we've arrived. We have a long way to go. But you're not the same person you were last week. And you're one person, let alone last year, last 5 years. I sure the shit. I mean, I'm the same in some ways. We're all the same in some ways. Like there's that nature that we have, but we all evolve. Cultures evolve. And so the idea of saying, oh, but you should have always been evolved is dumb. You're locking people in. It's actually backfiring. It's making people afraid to actually be honest, which is one of the important tenets that you need to not have cultiness. I'll talk about that again at the end. But it's become increasingly popular over the decades, and it's even filtered all the way down to high school, middle school, and it's all over TikTok. But just this popularity of shitting on anything that was in the past that doesn't fit our now righteous view. We have so many stupid views. We have no idea that are all over society. But here's one of the things. Okay. How am I tying this back to why I like America? You can say America's a cult. Fine. It's the biggest cult. The biggest nice cult of... Actually, I'm going to put a stake in the ground and say, if America was a cult, I would still join it. But I actually think it has some values to it. And maybe this will be as maybe I'll share the insight early with this on how to break out of a cult. America has some really fucking amazing values that protect humans. Now, again, I'm not talking about current politics. I'm not talking about things in the government. I'm not talking about any political party. I'm talking about tracing back. There's just three. There's three core values that, like, these core values, I think, like, is what made me say, oh, that feels better than what I'm in. So the three core values are, quite simply, everybody's heard it. You probably did it in school. I was homeschooled, so I didn't do this sort of thing like Declaration of Independence, but life, liberty, pursuit. Life, liberty, and pursuit. Okay. First of all, when I was growing up, life wasn't even mine. Like, not only people think this is extreme. Like, some people, especially in my past, will be like, hey, it was mostly good. We were pretty liberal. Yeah, your family's a little bit more, but you're making it crazy with the way things were. You're being a victim. Blah. Dude, we were literally told in church that your life is not yours. We were literally told that, like, for people that don't know anything about fundamentalist Mormonism, that men are worshipped. And when you're in it, it doesn't feel like they're being worshipped. It just feels like that you're respecting God, but they're being worshipped. They're considered like the good, they're the reason everything is good. They're the reason everything is held together. They have this special Harry Potter-like powers. They're the reason everything ties together. Now, they don't know. Some of them don't even fucking know that it's bullshit, even though they're the ones creating it. And again, why they did not see that it's bullshit? Because there's actually some genuine goodness in it. What they don't know is that genuine goodness also exists outside of the church. And if you don't know that, you get it confused and you think, oh, it's because I have this special power that's making it good, but it's not. But something that, what was my train of thought on this? I'll get back to it. Something with the church. I'm totally leaving all this in. This is what you get this is what I get for doing a sleep drunky episode. Also what I get for not having a co-host or somebody that would put me back on track. I literally just completely lost my train of thought. And it was going to be good. If it comes back, I'll do it. But if not, I'll just leave it. Talking about America, life, liberty, and pursuit. Oh, I remember now. Okay. We were literally told. Okay, I remember why I was giving the context. I was giving the context of the men, the leaders, the church leaders. And again, what makes this confusing is some of them have been quite good. Like, there are some people that were in leadership positions throughout history in Fundamentalist Mormonism that were quite kind and sweet and did cool things. They did some shit too that was also swept under the rug. Every single one of them. But they did good too. But one of the things that was talked about over and over and over, and I still have my notes because I was a big note taker in church and I have all of my notes and I have a bunch of audios. People probably wouldn't like this, but I have a bunch of audios of churches and stuff like that. But we were always told, you've been bought and paid for. You've been bought and paid for by the leadership. Basically, you are a slave to God's people, and your job, and it depends on which fundamentalist Mormon group you're in, but it's to be obedient. It's to be a good soldier, keep sweet, be led as though by a hair, be in the line of your duty, listen to your file leader. Everybody has accountability. I could go on and on and on. And the reason I'm going to drone on this a little bit more, because not necessarily now, but other episodes, because this is my YouTube channel. And for years, I have been pretty dang chill for people from my community that give pushback. And I let people believe what they're going to believe. And they can still believe what they're going to believe. But I also want to say what I actually think. And that when they're saying that it's all well and good, they're ignoring all of these things. But this is another thing. There's so much psychology in this of when you're questioning a cult, if you're in one, it's going to be very triggering because it's not questioning a cult and it doesn't feel like you're becoming free. People ask all the time, like, why would somebody be in a cult? Why wouldn't they leave it? Questioning a cult, and I actually feel for some people that might be triggered if they're watching this, but the only reason I am being as direct is, again, it's mostly for me, and if you're coming over to YouTube to watch this, then that's on you. So if I said something triggering from the work, then, I mean, sorry, but not, because you made the choice. But you should use that choice more often. But, fuck, it's happening again. I'm forgetting what I was going to say. I'm getting on my own tangents, but it was going to be good. I swear. Something with the reaction to people from my past that try to sweep stuff under the rug. Oh, I remember. I was going to give insight, and this is good for anybody. It's a good reminder for me. It's a good reminder for anybody that's not in a cult, or at least believes they're outside of one, or somebody that's in one. When you question your surroundings, your environment, and again, this is for people especially that wonder, like, why would anybody not just walk out of a cult if they realized they were in one? Why would they not question it? Because it's not questioning a cult, and it's not freedom. It's questioning a worldview, and the implication isn't freedom. The implication is death. That's the physical sensation. Like, there is nothing that I know of that is more powerful and challenging than questioning your own worldview. It's really hard. It's so difficult that there's really only one way to do it, and it has to be voluntarily. It has to be with curiosity. That's one of the only other reasons why I'm able to, like, I couldn't talk like this if I was actually in Centennial Park at chapel, because it wouldn't work. Like, the only way I could speak like this is if somebody was actually curious enough to come over to my channel and see what I was actually saying and thinking. But when you're locked into a position, you're not just hearing facts and truth and myths. Your whole identity is wrapped up in it. And this goes for you too, anybody that's listening that isn't religious. Everybody has this. It's why, honestly, I've been so slow and careful with peeling away every single thing that I've ever believed and slowly piecing it back in and being like, okay, what do I actually think? What do I actually believe about this thing? What does my lived experience give me, not just what somebody else said I should do or think or be? So questioning things, it's so painful. It's so hard to describe, but I also said powerful. I think it's one of the most powerful things a human being can do. Because here's what I can say with certainty, and I don't say anything with certainty. In fact, I'm going to even take it off the pedestal of certainty. I'm going to say it with probability. It's probable. You probably, no matter who I'm talking to right now, and I'm even talking to Calvin, and I can see myself, so I'm going to talk to Calvin too. Very probable, very likely, right this second, you are believing bullshit. All of us. We think we're the right ones. We think that our political party, our church, our things are the right one. This is what's also quite fascinating, just as a tangent with the church thing. There's a lot of people that are so good at recognizing and spotting the bad in churches that are almost identical to them, but they can't see it in themselves. It's actually so wild. And that's a human thing. So it's important to just have that be the baseline understanding with yourself. The baseline understanding is, I am probably believing in bullshit right this second. It's a near certainty. In fact, I'm not going to put it on you, but I'll put it on me. I think that's the only thing I'm certain of, is that I'm believing some bullshit. But at the same time, I'm not too worried about it, because that's just what it means to be a human. We all do, and it's what makes certainty so exciting and susceptible, because we all have the insecurity that we believe in bullshit. So when somebody has all the answers, it's like, oh, maybe I should follow them. But that's an important point. We all have nonsense that we believe in, and we're believing nonsense right now. And that's why you have to be open to evolution, because we have to change, and if we're changing, it means we didn't have it right perfectly. And if we didn't have it right perfectly, it means we were doing stupid shit. And if we were doing stupid shit, it means we have to be okay with people in their process doing stupid shit, because that's what we would want. And it makes no sense to shame them. And again, this is especially people that are in an environment like any culty environment. Like, shame is not effective. It just doesn't work. Again, I'm caveating that with being able to say names of people in leadership positions, because if you're public, or if you have a name, or if you're a position that is affecting a lot of people, especially people that like their social, emotional, spiritual well-being is on you, you deserve to have a name. That's my view. Now, while I'm thinking of it, I want to just make sure I'm looping back to this American thing and why I don't think it's culty and what really helped. The values. Because we need to start here as a culture, I feel like. Like, this could be a worldwide thing with values, and like bottom up build from this, because we're arguing about so many things in culture. And when I look at it, I'm like, okay, guys, we're arguing about leaves. Let's get to the branches. Let's get to the core. Let's get to the trunk of the things we actually agree on. Because you can have one or two or three core values, and it's like a chess game. You can have an infinite number of ways to satisfy the value, but people start arguing about the different ways to do the chess game. And it's like, no, this is the right way to do the chess game. This is the right way to do the chess game. That's ridiculous. Because there's an infinite number of ways to do the chess game. At the very least, we need to get to the very beginning and make sure that we're playing the same game and that we want the same things. And again, in America, life, liberty, pursuit. We all need that. And again, it's quite the opposite of everything that I grew up in. Life wasn't mine, certainly didn't have liberty, and pursuit was not mine. Pursuit is such a human thing, to be able to follow your own curiosity, your own calling. So many religions and colleges and political parties. So many things in culture are fucking this one up. They say, yes, you have a life. They say you should have liberty. But they're saying you should think about this. You should feel this way about this. You should do this. You shouldn't have curiosity about this group of people. You shouldn't talk to this type of person. You shouldn't platform this. You shouldn't be curious about this. They're basically taking away something that we consider here in America a fundamental human right. Everything that's getting the airtime is the expression thing. And that is also critically important. Again, I'm going to wrap the episode up with something that's going to tie into that in a sec. It's important. But these 3 core values we got to have. It's the 3 core values that I think started to make me be aware of what I was in, because I was like, wait a minute. I really like those values. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and pursuit. I don't really feel like I have control over my life. I think I'd like to have control over my life. Liberty. I want to have autonomy to do what I want. Everybody else gets to. The Gentiles get to. The people outside of my church. I think that'd be kind of nice. Pursuit. I don't want to work in construction. I don't want to follow the footsteps of my dad and everybody else. I want to do something else. That sounds kind of nice. And because I saw those, I started to lean into them. And I had to be okay with the fact that all of the psychological baggage of what I was conditioned for decades, that the one thing you cannot repent of is leaving this church. You're going to go to hell. You're going to go to a special place in hell. And I think it's fun to poke at now because it felt so real. It felt so real. And it's a story. It's a story. In fact, a lot of religions are just that. A lot of things in society, what makes one group of religious people against another group isn't anything like in the physical world. It's what collections of stories do you believe in? What the collection of stories is what makes the religion. It's what makes the political party. It's what makes so many groups. But there's good. And I think that's what I want to start to wrap with, is the good in all this, because there's so much that can be unpacked. It's why this needs to be long form. I'm going to be making more episodes like this, but I didn't even get into some of my plans for Culture Boy. I'm so fucking excited for the show. I'm so fucking excited for Culture Boy because, yes, it's going to have conversation like this, but I'm also going to be sharing stories in culture, front lines, exploring culture as somebody that didn't. As somebody that, because I grew up in a cult, it's kind of exciting. There's a lot of things that are brand new to me. And I live, as long as I can keep paying rent, but I live here in New York City. The epicenter of culture. And there's so much that I am fascinated by with the human condition, and cultiness is just one of them. There's other aspects of it that are really gorgeous and really beautiful. One of the things is just even the simple concept of the human spirit, getting out of impossible things. Like me leaving the cult gives me, I don't know, it gives me a deeper connection to the whole human story, because I'm like, I didn't come up with whatever was in me that gave me the curiosity and the gumption to do something that felt ridiculous, like take the leap. Like, I can't believe I get to be a human. That's actually pretty dope. There's a lot of things about humans that are dope that nobody talks about. And we need to be able to talk about it all. We need to be able to say, this is the dope stuff, this is the not dope stuff. And there is not one particular group. there's certainly not one particular religion. I want to call out every fucking religion. There's great people in Palestine. There's horrible people in Palestine. There's great people in Israel. There's horrible people in Israel. Like, and everything in between. It's so bananas to me how we get so locked up into different things. But I am excited about Cultured Boy. I'm excited about this show. And I'm going to be sharing more. And I promised... I'm going to leave... There's actually some loose ends that I'm not even going to close. This can just be like a buffet preview of where things are. I didn't even get into, again, my personal journey. I was going to get into more of that, of like how I was able to actually leave, what I was questioning, what I'm trying to do now. I'm going to be doing more cinematic storytelling, but again, live, in person, non-scripted, because I love the real human shit. I just love it. But to fulfill my promise on how to make sure that whether you're in a political circle, a religious circle, a secular circle, and you don't want to be locked up into cultiness, what can you do? How can you sort of guarantee? There's no guarantees. But how do you safeguard against cultiness? Here's how. State the obvious. That's it. You got to be able to state the obvious. And that can just be with you at first. You got to be able to say, I think this, I feel this. Like the most obvious thing is going to be your own experience in life. I feel this way. I feel sad when we talk about this, or this doesn't look right to me. It's being an individual. When things get really culty, I'm getting more and more friends of people that are in Fundamentalist Mormonism and the different branches of Fundamentalist Mormonism. And I'm so fascinated at the Warren Jeffs, which again is very much connected to ours, the one that I grew up in. One generation before mine, it was all the same church. But seeing how Warren Jeffs was able to control so many people, but he was able to do it because people were afraid for their salvation and all those sorts of things. But then they ultimately had zero agency. They didn't state the obvious with themselves, let alone other people, which is a hard thing to do. I remember being afraid in my own head. But that's what you do. Yeah, you have to be willing to say, this is what I actually think. You're not... So this is what you're trading. Because I said in the beginning, or earlier in the episode, that what makes people culty is like they get clear and like, this is the right thing to do. Righteousness is actually one of the most popular masks for cultiness. So what are we replacing righteousness with? Honesty. That's it. Individual honesty. We have to be able to do that. That's why we have to be able to express ourselves. It's why I'm doing an episode like this. Even though I know I've ruffled some feathers if anybody from my past saw this. I'm sorry, but not. I'm not apologizing for what I've said. I'm sorry that it hurts because I know it fucking hurts. I know it fucking hurts. I really do feel for that. That's what I mean when I'm saying I'm sorry. I'm not saying I'm sorry for what I said. I'm saying sorry that I know it stings when I'm like, what you're in is probably a cult. Because I was that way too. But I'm willing to say it even though I don't like making people feel a certain way. Like it's hard enough to live my own life. I want everybody else to be able to do theirs. But the reason I'm saying it is I want to make a practice more of saying the things that I honestly think and feel. Especially just putting it out on the record for my own show. Like this is a time capsule. Yes, right now we're going into November. My birthday is coming up November 1st. which is going to be fun because I'm going to be spending it with what I call my good cult, which is this sauna place here in New York, Othership. Shout out Othership, sauna and cold plunge with some friends. It's going to be so fun. But I just, yeah, even though this is November, coming on November 2025, when we're in 2035 or 45, I want to be able to go back and know what I actually really thought. I don't want to be trying to decipher what I thought. And right now, I want to say it's obvious that all of Mormonism is a cult. All of Mormonism is wrong. And it has a lot of goodness. In fact, I would argue that Mormonism has some of the most beautiful, there's messiness because of the cultiness, but some of the most beautiful human qualities of anywhere in the world. And that's what makes it fascinating, is that blend. And I want to untangle it. I want to be clear on where I stand with the work that I come from, that it's culty, that it's connected to other fundamentalist Mormon churches, even though they try to separate each other, and talk about the nuance as to how these things can happen. Because it's all human shit that makes any of this happen. And we're all participating. Every single one of us. It is not just one single leader at the top. We're all participating in it. Every single person. From the people sitting in the pews and not being honest with themselves, people quietly abandoning themselves at a lunch because somebody said something that they don't agree with, somebody having subtle self-abandonment in conversations with their spouse, and then getting shut down, and so that's why they don't. Like, there's reasons for it. And I, for one, want to have a place where I'm like, okay, uncultured boy, we're going to say shit that we don't agree with. I'm going to say stuff that ruffles some people's feathers. But at the end of the day, I want to be able to look back on it in 10 or 20 years and be like, okay, I know what I was fucking thinking because I said it. I was fucking honest. That's all I want. That's what I want. And I think that's the only way that you can actually break out of anything that's culty is honesty. Okay, guys. Now I'm talking to you. Whether you're in any of this, how did you feel about this? What was your favorite part of this episode? I mean, what was your worst part? I mean, how presumptuous of me. I wish I was more like my friend Jaden Jeffs, who is Warren Jeff's son. We've had great episodes on this. Did you guys like the Jaden Jeffs episode? I was also on his. He's so fucking good at being able to say, he makes fun of it by claiming the exact same thing. And it's harder for me to do by like, I'm the prophet. You should trust me. I know the truth. So pay your tithing, donate money to the channel, subscribe. But I want you to have your agency. So tell me what you hated, I guess, if you hated anything, except I don't give a fuck if you did hate it. But I do. I just want some sort of dialogue. What did you like, if anything? I don't want to presume that there was anything good here. And what are you curious about? Because I'll take it into consideration. Again, I'll do more conversations like this. That's conversation style. But I got some really exciting things in the works with Cultured Boy that is more than just conversation. Like up close stuff. So stay tuned. I'm Calvin Wayman. Thank you for watching and stay hungry. Stay curious. And let me know what you liked. I'll be in the comments. See ya.